Hasenböl hoax theory debunked.
Which came first, the tree or the beamship?
Hasenböl, Langenberg, Switzerland, the 29th of March, 1976, 1810 hours.
It has long been an accusation in the UFO community that Billy Meier faked his UFO photos using small models hanging in front of trees or other objects. The models were allegedly sitting close to the camera while the trees and other objects were off in the distance. The Hasenböl Sunshine Beamship is no exception to this accusation. They credit Meier with a mastery in photography and special effects, which I'm sure he would laugh heartily about. If you look closer at Meier's photos, anyone with a basic understanding of photography and depth of field should be able to debunk the model theory quite easily. And with the valuable work that has already been done by Raul Zahi, Chris Locke, and others, the model theory has been thoroughly debunked. It's still nice to break these remaining images down until every last charlatan and know-it-all scurries away. They will one day realize that the lights in the sky are not the reason for the Meier contacts. It has always been about spreading the creation energy teaching and assuring our very threatened future survival.
The real masters of perspective and optical illusions.
I've learned over the years that the Plejarians are the real masters of object placement and optical illusions. The way they position their beamships in photographs is stunningly effective. It's one thing to leave a hint of doubt for those who would go insane if faced with the absolute reality of extraterrestrials, but the Plejarians go above and beyond. They not only leave room for doubt, but they equally make it undeniable and ironclad for those who do the research and think logically. The real scientists and pioneers are the human beings who have learned to shed their bias and look at the evidence neutrally. I really do admire their work.
Photo fringing.
Also known as color fringing, photo fringing is a color distortion that creates an outline of color along the edges of objects in a photograph. It often appears along metallic surfaces or when there's a contrast between light and dark objects, such as a dark object in front of a bright blue sky. Fringing is a chromatic aberration that happens naturally in a photo. Due to advancements in photo editing software, fringing can now be added manually. The fringing program will add a line or multiple lines of color along the edges of objects in an image. The program can only outline something that exists in the photograph. If part of an object is hidden behind another object, the program can't outline the part that isn't visible. It can't outline something that isn't there. The pixels tell the truth. The photo editor that I used is the Polar Pro Photo Editor. It has your standard suite of professional editing software tools. When working with photo fringing, I like to invert the colors and adjust the brightness and contrast in order to make it easier to see the added colored lines. This first image below is inverted and adjusted, but no fringing has been added.
Without fringe.
The next image below has a blue line of added fringe. The thinner tree branches appear green, and the thicker parts of the tree appear as pale blue with a hint of green along the right edge. The darker blue fringe outline is on the left side of the branch and tree. Later, we'll change the outline color and break it down to pixels so the actual branch green can be seen better.
Blue fringe outline added.
These next images are enlarged for better viewing.
Blue fringe outline, green line is actual branch.
In summary, if the branch was behind the ship, the blue line at the edge of the left side of the ship would not be solid. There would be a clear break in the line. Remember, the program can't outline something that isn't there. Why can't we see the green line of the actual branch over the ship? The colors have simply blended together, making it much harder to see the green line on the pale blue-colored ship. The only line that matters in this case is the outline on the left. The line does not break, which makes it indisputable that the branch is in front of the beamship.
What do the pixels show?
In these next images, I've reversed the color order of the fringe outline. You'll notice that the actual tree is still green, but the outline on the left is now pale blue with a darker blue outline on the underside of the branch. In the pixelated image, we can now see the green line going directly across the edge of the ship. How is that possible if the ship is a small model hanging in front of the tree and near the camera? Here's the full-size image for reference. The base of the tree is where it's easiest to distinguish the tree green. From the fringe outline, front side outline is pale blue on the left, and the underside outline is darker blue on the right. As you might have noticed, it's difficult to fringe a thin tree with many branches. When objects are close together or overlapping, the colors blend together or bleed onto each other. Some of the branches are so thin that the pixels are barely visible in certain areas. The rays of sunshine also add a reflection, which causes various pixels to look whitewashed. However, this branch was in a perfect position as to not be overly affected by the other branches. And the fringing job turned out better than I originally expected. It clearly shows that the beamship is not a model hanging close to the camera. There will always be people who refuse to look at the evidence. They will continue to make generalized and sweeping claims about Meyer being a fraud. We've all seen them in action. It's embarrassing at this point because they are not serious people. Their aim is to deceive folks in order to sway them in a conspiratorial direction. While money and greed play a large role with some of the known liars, other fraudsters are of a different nature. They aim to keep a firm hold on the censorship of the Meyer material so that human beings remain addicted to stupidity. With the mountains of evidence and scientific analyses done by various independent researchers and scientists, no one should have a problem getting to the truth. If one thinks about everything that Meyer explains in the creation energy teaching, the truth is easily recognized. The truth will always resonate. Lies and deceit will kick off that churning feeling in your gut. The trick is learning to pay attention